Hey, in today's video, I'm going to be giving a transformation to my son to make his hair look like NLE Choppa's. Alright guys, so I'm going to be doing a transformation on my son's hair in today's video. If you guys want to subscribe to Kellen, his channel is linked down below. But I'm unboxing this package I just received, and I got some new clippers, and I really love these clippers, guys. These are perfect. They have a really nice weight to them, and everything in the box is really nice. They give you some guards, and they give you some oil, and also a clipper brush as well. The overall feel and, touch on these clippers are like really nice, and it says that they're professional clippers. I feel like that's an understatement because these are really awesome clippers. But this is Kellen's hair right here. You see that his hair needs to have a nice fade. I'm gonna do a taper fade. Right now he's doing waves on the side, so he's allowing his hair to grow out a little bit, which is really cool because you're actually starting to see the waves, which I didn't expect to see any waves on his hair this soon, with his hair being a 2C. If you want to know how I cut hair, which this is actually kind of tough because his hair was long and his hair is more straighter, and I'm more used to actually cutting your hair and more tight of a curl pattern because I don't have a wide range of people's hair that I've actually cut before. But if you want to know how I actually cut hair and the process I go through, it's best to just watch 360 GZ. But I do want to highlight these clippers, especially in this video, and I am linking these down below. I really love these clippers. So it was really hard for me to find some good clippers that were cordless without spending a whole lot of money. And the reason I don't want to spend a whole lot of money is because I'm not a professional barber. I don't cut hair all the time. I just cut my hair, I cut my son's hair, and I didn't want to, spend a whole lot. But I'm linking these down below because they are perfect clippers, and I just really like them. They feel really good. They have a really nice weight to them, and I think that's one of my favorite things about them. But like you guys see right here, I'm just going through the process of cutting his hair. I'm literally just taking the same steps that I've learned from 360 GZ. Obviously, I'm not as good as 360 GZ, but the biggest thing is I'm trying to do is just blend everything, mix the long hair with the short hair. And I'm doing what's called a burst taper as best as possible, although it's not like a big burst. But the best way to start out with a burst taper is to actually start out with a kind of like a triangle at the bottom, as you guys seen in the beginning, and then I kind of fade it out from there. And then now I'm just doing blend work, just going in between guards. And like I said, I'm not going to go in depth on how I cut the hair. I just wanted to really emphasize how good these clippers are doing for me. And I'm actually really excited to cut my own hair one of these days, once my dreadlocks get a little bit more mature, and I'm going to do a taper fade most likely on my hair and see if I wanted to do a taper hairline or anything like that. One thing I'm really doing, if you've noticed, is I'm using my corners when I'm cutting the hair. I think that's a big tip I can tell you, especially when working with a small area. It's good to just use the corners because it doesn't take off too much hair, but at the same time, you want to blend it as good as possible. And another tip I can tell you that helps me a lot and helps other people as well is always comb the hair or brush the hair, depending on what you're using, in between cutting the hair, because that allows the hair to lay down and give you a clean fade when cutting the hair. So always comb it down. You see how I'm constantly combing. And I know barbershops will typically use a comb, but if you're at your house, you can use a brush. The reason people use combs, for anybody who's wondering, is because you can sanitize the combs, but you can't sanitize brushes. But this is my son, and we're using all of our own, personal items. Now we're moving on to the back, and I'm doing the same steps. I guess I'll kind of walk you through the steps a little bit. What I do is I go up about 1/2 inch with my lever open, just make it all even around, make sure everything's good to go. And then once I'm done going, 1/2 inch with lever open, I'll put on my one guard. And this is the method I was talking about meeting in the middle. I'll put on the one guard, and then I'll go up another 1/2 inch. Once I get on the one guard, especially with his hair and he's trying to get waves, I like to flick up, or flick out rather. Which allows it to kind of blend a little bit better before I go into my 2 guard. Another thing I want to mention before we talk more about, obviously cutting the hair. As you guys see in the thumbnail, I'm going to be giving him Bantu knots. And a lot of people thought that NLE Choppa cut his dreadlocks. We'll talk about that right now. NLE Choppa did not cut his dreadlocks. If you guys watched the video on Great Locks of me doing an NLE Choppa video, talking about someone who sent me a message, and actually it was multiple people who said, yeah, NLE Choppa actually cut his dreadlocks. One thing that he does to maintain his dreadlocks, and he actually did this to start his dreadlocks as well, is he puts his hair in Bantu knots, which Bantu knots is you literally just twisting the hair until it turns into a ball or a knot, and then use a rubber band to tie it off. Now, there are times, or different hair types rather, that can actually do Bantu knots without using rubber bands. But with Kellen's hair type, it's best to use a rubber band because his hair is a little more on the straighter end, especially when considering dreadlocks. It's best to use rubber bands at the base, but you guys will obviously see that here in a little bit when I get into that part of the video. And Bantu knots are actually extremely easy to do, and I'm actually going to be using the Dreadlock locking gel in this tutorial as well, so you'll be able to see that in action, and the link to that is down below as well. I'm actually moving on to the lineup now, and you're able to see me giving the lineup on the top and just cleaning everything up. Lineup is one of my favorite parts of the haircut process just because you see it all come together. And one thing that I've noticed is even if you mess up on the blend or the actual fade itself, when you line everything up, you don't even notice that. So that's what I really like about the lineup. Obviously, you want to work your best on actually doing the fade. But like I said, once you get a clean lineup, even if you didn't have a fade and you just have a clean lineup, it just makes everything look a whole lot better. So this is what everything's looking like after the lineups. You can just see how that ties everything together and how it made the back look even better. Now we're getting to the meat of the video, and that is the Bantu knots. And I'll walk you guys through a tutorial on this. And this really matures the hair. And before even doing the Bantu knots, Kellen was actually a little hesitant to do it. And you guys see right here, I'm using the Dreadlock locking gel. But like I said, he was pretty hesitant to do it. And the reason being is because obviously he didn't want it to take too long. And at the same time, he didn't want to leave the hairstyle in. But once we put the Bantu knots in, he actually really liked it. So it's just one of those things about dreadlocks or hair in general, that you just literally just got to try some things to see what works for you, because you never know that you might just like something if you've never tried it, especially. But let's talk about how to actually do this. See, I'm using the Dreadlock locking gel, applying it at the root only, and you can obviously apply it throughout the length of the dreadlock as well, but I'm mostly focusing on the root and tying everything together. But I'm twisting the hair as if I'm just twisting the gel, but instead of using duck clips, I'm going to continue to twist it. And as you see, I'm using two hands. I'm guiding the roots with my left hand and twisting the tip with my right hand. As I'm guiding the roots, I'm allowing it to lay down against the head, almost turning into, for lack of better words, a cinnamon roll kind of form. And that's really the best way to explain. It's almost like creating little cinnamon rolls, like rolling the hair up and placing them on the head. And obviously you'll be able to see in this video what it looks like. It's best to just try it on yourself, and you'll see how easy it actually is. And I will say that it works best on hair that is a little longer. I would recommend around, like 4 to maybe 6 inches to start out. It can get a little tough when the hair is a little shorter. It's obviously still possible, but it's easier if your hair is at a sweet spot of about 4 to 6, maybe even at the most 8 inches. Could possibly be at 10 inches as well. Just could be a little tougher at that point. But look, I'm twisting the hair, continuing, and you see that it starts to ball up at the root. And that's exactly what you want to happen. And like I said earlier on in this video, with a tighter curl pattern, there's certain times where you don't even have to actually use a rubber band at this point. You can literally just keep on twisting down to the root, and it'll literally stay like that. Maybe I'll make a video on it in the future on my own hair and see if it actually works with my hair type being a 3C. But guys, I just continued this process throughout his whole head. Kellen actually has 49 dreadlocks, almost 50. So it's a pretty cool, almost even number, but he did end up combining 2 dreadlocks. That's why he only has 49 instead of 50. Maybe eventually he'll combine 2 more and to make it an even number. And I will say that having an even number of dreadlocks makes it a whole lot easier for different hairstyles like 2-strand twists and braids, so on and so forth, just because sometimes if you do 2-strand twist, you're going to have a 2-strand twist that has multiple dreadlocks in it versus just 2. But guys, like I said, I just continued this process throughout his entire head, and one Bantu knot really only took about, I would say 30 seconds to a minute. So you're looking at maybe 50 minutes to an hour doing the whole head. Now, as far as actually doing the fade and then the Bantu knots, you're looking at maybe 2 hours at the most. It really doesn't take that long. I'm actually pretty positive that I could do this in under an hour. But obviously with making these videos for you guys, it does take quite some time to put it all together and set the camera up and actually do, different Bantu knots or do different, angles for cutting the hair. But yeah, you can easily do this on someone else in under an hour. You can even do it on yourself in under an hour, I believe. It just really takes patience and actually the time to learn how to do it. And hopefully this video does help you out on how to actually achieve this hairstyle, considering someone as popular as NLE Choppa doing this quite often. And not only that, but answering the question of what did NLE Choppa actually do to his hair? This is what he does. He does the Bantu knots, and this is what helps the hair harden up. It helps it mature a whole lot quicker. And I'm actually recording this voiceover a couple days later after Kellen has taken out the Bantu knots. and you can already see the difference on his dreadlocks. And he told me that these made his dreadlocks so much harder and so much more mature just from keeping them in for a few days or even just a little bit of time. And that's really the truth about Bantu knots, is it really helps, make everything tighter. And that's why NLE Choppa's dreadlocks look so nice and well put together, because he does the Bantu knots method. And obviously the 2-strand twist helps out a lot. But the Bantu knots are perfect because you're actually maintaining one dreadlock alone. You're not tying them together, you're not braiding them together. So it just allows it to mature on its own, which is really good. It allows the dreadlock to keep its integrity. Alright guys, that is the final look. Let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think about his dreadlocks. Let me know if this looks pretty familiar or even similar to NLE Choppa's dreadlocks. And I just wanted to kind of show you guys how NLE Choppa does this hairstyle. And obviously if you don't like the sections, you can always get hair fibers and spray some hair fibers on the top to not really emphasize those sections as well, kind of hide them a little bit. Because with NLE Choppa's dreadlocks, you're able to, it almost looked like he cut his hair. That's how realistic it looked. But that's how you do the Bantu knots. And I also wanted to show you guys how I cut hair, since I haven't showed you in a while. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and make sure to comment down below what you thought about the haircut and the hairstyle. Don't forget to go check out those clippers. I linked them down below, and I'm telling you, they are my favorite clippers to this day. But on that, I'll see you guys next time. Hope you guys do have an amazing day. Matter of fact, have a great day. Peace and God bless.